Yeah, I mean, the old ground, I mean, it was just literally people getting in any which way they could. I actually saw, people, blokes with like beards going to the turn because the turnstile operators claiming they were children, like, trying to get children's tickets and stuff like that.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And as we're in the thick of another international break, it gives me and Dad a really good chance to try some different videos. And a really popular one that we like to do is a question from the fans. Now, Dad put a community post out onto YouTube in regards to this, and it just asked for your questions to be asked to me and Dad, and also a memories, your favourite memories of St. Andrews. Could be good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't really matter. And we got a really overwhelmingly positive response, as we always do. So we're going to break these questions and memories down into 3 different podcasts, and today we're coming with you with the first one of that series. So Dad, shall I kick it off? In fact, Dad, I'm going to kick it off with the memory that you put on to the channel to inspire people, and this is from Gary O'Neill. Here is a St. Andrews memory of mine to kick things off. Does anybody remember standing in the old cop and you would get that warm feeling at the back of your legs, followed by the golden river flowing down the terraces? The toilets in them days were right at the top of the cop and were effectively a very small, narrow corridor which you couldn't get in or out of easily, so it was a no.
Yeah, I mean, that was a memory for me. It was awful, really. That was. I mean, I used to love being in the old cop. So when I,
You're talking 70s here.
yeah, 70s. Well, it was any time before the new, but the Tilton and the cop as we know it was actually built. So it would have been 90s, wouldn't it? I can't. You know what? If anybody just out of curiosity, if anybody knows exactly the date that we demolished the old cop and the Tilton, let me know. I mean, obviously I was around, but I just can't remember.
Yeah.
And it was awful. The toilet. In those days it was like terraces, and they'd have those bars that you'd have to stand on. They wouldn't be everywhere. And if you was in front of one of those bars and we scored a goal, you'd really took your breath away because obviously the surge. Yeah. But you would get this this river going down, and to get this warm feeling at the back of your legs. It was all right in winter for about 5 seconds, but it just shows you the way things were then and how times have changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously for me, even though I used to love the old cop, and that's where we used to stand. Because in them days as well, obviously it was standing as well, so you didn't have like we have now, like seat numbers. You get allocated to a place and you sit there or stand, depends on where you are. But you'd literally, you'd all come in and we'd go up these steps by where the clock used to be, which is at the junction of the Cop and the railway end, or what is now known as the Gilmerick. Yeah. And we'd walk up these steps, and it depended on if you get there early, most people would migrate to the middle, and then obviously obviously as the crowd built, it would sort of fill it all up. So it was great memories for me. But I must admit, I do prefer now to have an allocated seat, particularly I'm a bit older.
Those were the days where the clock was in between the cop and behind the goal, wasn't it? Sponsored by Ansell, I think.
Yeah, it was Ansell. Yeah, and they used to have the letters A, B, C, D, and that would correspond to the scores, and that would be what was in your program. So game A was this, and it was all great memories.
Yeah, it's a shame, Dad, because obviously I only remember with my age St. Andrews as a seated stadium. I never got to see it with terraces. Yeah. In fact, my only terrace experience was Fulham away in '98 and or '99, I think it was, when Granger scored that free kick.
Oh yeah.
Me, you, my sister, and your friend was there.
Jason.
From Fulham away. But shame I didn't get to experience more terraces. They actually sound like quite a laugh, to be fair. I mean, probably not the best safety reasons, but Anyway, we'll move on to the first question. So that's Stevie G. His memory, Dad, favourite memories: Zigic's winner versus them lot in the quarter-final. Great memory. The 3 goals versus West Ham in the semi-final. Again, amazing memories. And a mention to Andrew Johnson's goal in the semi-final win versus Ipswich. We both remember that night very well, don't we, Dad? We did actually go on the pitch at the end. And it was amazing. Yeah. But his question is, we are a third of the way through the season after the November international break. For me, the Championship season really begins with pretty much no break until March 2026, except with the FA Cup, with 2 games a week almost every week. This, for me, is where we won the League 1 title last season, i.e. depth of squad and being able to get results when we needed them. And again, this season, this is where I think the squad depth, the hard work of pre-season will reap its rewards. I'm not saying we'll win the league or even get an automatic spot, but it's where our true potential will be shown. What do you think, Keeper On?
Well, there's a good reflection there on last season about what happened. We are now in a different league in the Championship. Look, at the time of recording, we've started well. We've played 15 games. We're 11th in the table, right in the middle of the table, having had some absolutely brilliant results at home, a couple of away wins, and we're just ticking along nicely at the moment. So I think the squad depth will take its toll in terms of in a positive way, because we have got quality players to come in. However, we are going to get injuries, we are going to get suspensions, and that's going to impact on our season. But I think I agree with that. This is really the time now when you look at the league table and you sort of see how it's going to go, really. I mean, you do get some teams that come out with late surgeries or plummet down the league or whatever. But I agree with that in terms of what this November onwards is a really important part to the season.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think the Christmas period in particular is really key, just with the pure volume of games. If you can get some momentum over Christmas into the new year, you're laughing really, because it sets you up then for that second half of the season, doesn't it? We see it all the time. I mean, Coventry are doing well this season, but they're a classic example of building some momentum during this period and going on an absolute tear during the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I think if we can do that, we'll do really well. And I think at the moment, we've said this, Dad, we're a mid-table team at the moment. But if we sort our away form out, we could end up doing some damage this season and climbing up the table. So if we sort that out, I think we could make a playoff push for the final space. Maybe, who knows? But we need to sort that away form out, don't we?
Yeah, it is. We if anybody saw the Middlesbrough post-match podcast, we talked about that, about our away form and the importance of that. So that really is the crucial thing for us. I think we'll be okay at home, but it's the away form that will determine where we go this season.
Absolutely. And we've got quite a long one from Boston Brum, aka Andy, who comments on our channel. And I am going to read this, Dad, because it does highlight some really, really good memories, especially from a family point of view with his brothers and his dad and stuff like that. So, memory from Andy, aka Boston Brum. My memories are having season tickets to my dad in the 70s up to the mid-80s before emigrating to the US. The away game at Coventry and Mick Hartford's last-minute winner to keep us up, crazy scenes. Putting my younger brother in the same turnstile as my dad with 50 pence for the turnstile bloke to pocket while I was behind, so no one saw what we were up to. That makes me laugh, because you've told me stories similar to that over the years back in the day. St.Andrews jammed from those that I had paid. And thousands had not. The 100-year anniversary night game versus Celtic. I have hundreds of memories with my dad and now my boys there. I have mentioned before, but would love it expressed on your podcast. Well, there you go, Andy. That's a shout out to your memory with your family. The new ground, I would love the club to have a memorial walkway leading to the new Cop or to Trevor's statue. Families could pay a small fee to have their loved ones not with us anymore, but true Bluenoses, memorialised with engraved bricks of their names in the walkway. I would love my dad's name and eventually mine forever, part of our beloved Blues. I just turned 60 and can't wait, God willing, to walk into the new stadium with my boys on a trip over. There was many of us that stood in St.Andrews as there is now sitting that followed the Blues through thick and thin. It would be nice for the club to acknowledge them and the families to see those names forever etched into the history of Blues. Always a pleasure listening to your podcast. Brings home always a little closer. Thank you both, Andy. So really nice. I wanted to read the whole of that, Dad, because it's some really nice moments in there.
There's brings a lot of memories back for me, because I'm the same age as Andy. I've just turned 60 as well, or I did earlier this year. So I'm obviously the same age, so I know exactly what he's talking about. I mean, the old ground, it was just literally people getting in any which way they could. I actually saw, people, blokes with like beards going to the because the turnstile operators claiming they were children, trying to get children's tickets and stuff like that. And you had to understand the geography or the construction of the old Cop to understand how people got. And I think one game, I think it was a quarter final in the FA Cup against Watford. We lost it 3-1. I think the ground was absolutely rammed. John Barnes scored an absolute perler for Watford. I was at that, and I saw people. That was the game I think I saw people climbing over the turnstiles. To get in. But yeah, so I do remember those stuff. I do like Andy's suggestions as well about that, and maybe I know the club are going to do some consultations with fans on what they want to see at the new stadium, and if anybody from Birmingham City is watching and would like to take those suggestions forward, I think there's some fabulous ones there about the walkway and leading to Trevor's stadium. I think absolutely fabulous. So thanks for that, Andy. That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, really good comment. It covers a lot of ground there. Thank you, Andy. Really appreciate it. Next question, Dad, is from Matthew Fleming. Again, another good one. I'm sure lots of different opinions on this in the comments would be great. So what do you think is actually our strongest 11 with everyone fit right now? As I think there are quite a few mixed opinions. For me, it's probably, I'm going to assume the positions that the players are going to be in. So Beadle in goal, Laird right back, Clara Norman centre backs, Cochrane left back, Doyle and Awata in those holding sixes, Gray on the left, Roberts on the right, Dutch in the 10 and Stano in the 9.
This is quite controversial. This is because it's just down to individuals' opinions.
It's personal opinion, isn't it?
We know on the podcast that like ourselves, just like ourselves, we favour certain players, don't we? So people are going to disagree with this now, and because I noticed that the Pake's not in there in that lineup as well, which a lot of people think. So some people think Pake is absolutely fabulous, and some think he's maybe not. But that's what football's like, and its opinions. I agree with most of that team actually. Beadle Allsop's a tough one for me because Beadle's been done great since he came in, but he's only had a few games.
They're very close for me.
They're very close. To me, even though Beadle's done okay so far, I mean, I would probably still go for Allsop on the basis he's proved more to me. And I think over time, if Beadle keeps going the way he's going, it will be Beadle. But at the moment, I would say for me, it'd be Allsop. The right back position is the interesting one because Laird, and I think if you would have asked me last season, I'd say without a doubt that's definitely Laird. But now that Iwata has been put in that position, and also Bright, I think he's not really in the mix for me because he started well, but no, it's not really. He's just tailed off. So it would be either Laird or Water, but I am going to plump for Laird because I think that he's got pace and he's become a threat. It's the thing about him though, his fitness. I don't want to labour this too much because obviously we've got other questions. Clara Neumann without a doubt. Cochrane as well. I think he's been fabulous. He's proven to be a really good supply line, a little bit like Leif Davis did for Ipswich a few seasons ago. I like Tommy Doyle as well and Iwata, but obviously you've got Iwata, Doyle, Pake and Leonard to fit into effectively those four places if you don't use Iwata at right back. So my favoured midfield would be definitely Tommy Doyle, and I'd go for Pake because I would have Iwata as right back, but obviously I've said Laird, so this is where my conundrum is.
But though, Dad, you used a really good analogy in the Middlesbrough video, and you used the term horses for courses.
Yeah.
So although I think Matthew Fleming here has got a really good core structure to the team, I agree with most of it, but there are games which I would play Keshi instead of Gray. Yeah. There's games I'd play Laird instead of Iwata. There's games I'd play maybe Iwata and Pake in the midfield. So I think the core structure of Matthew Fleming's core team here is decent. I just think horses for courses, it will change depending on who we're playing sometimes.
Exactly, and also transfer windows as well. So if Matthew's question was to come in, say, sort of mid-February, and we've made a few acquisitions in the transfer window, that could be different again. So it really is a moving thing, isn't it? I agree with you. I think there's what the team that Matthew's picked there is a good team, but I do, I like Keshi definitely. I mean, I would pick Keshi over Damari Gray myself at the moment. Duck, she's a new. He has made a good start. We weren't brilliant against Middlesbrough, to be fair, but he looks good in number 10. Yep. And I don't think you'd ever drop Stano. Yeah. And obviously Kyogo's not in there either. So there's like you said, it really is. I think it's just a case on a week by week, game by game basis, really, to decide your best. Because players coming out of form, they get injured as well, don't they?
As a general comment, it's a pretty good team that Matthew's picked.
Yeah, I think so.
I think, as I said, my only variations would be little ones, depending on injuries, suspensions, and who we're playing. Really.
Yeah, that's not a bad team actually at all. Exactly. I mean, and I agree. You talk about the core of the team. That would be
if I turned up and that team was starting, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I think so.
So our next, thank you, Matthew, for that question and observation of the team, really interesting. So our next comment is from Paul O'Neill, Dad. My memory of St.Andrews was Middlesbrough, March 08, 1975/FA Cup 1974-1975, when Bob Hatton scored at the Tilton End. The crowd went crazy. It turned me into a fan for life. Keep on.
Yeah. I mean, again, I see names like Bob Hatton, and it just takes me back to when I first started watching the Blues, and he again was a fantastic player, big goal scorer, big player for us as well. So again, those memories are fantastic. Yeah. That was the season that we got to the semi-final against Fulham. That's 1975, 1974-75. So it probably would have been. So we. I mean, I'm probably dragging up a bad memory here for Blues fans, but that's we in the replay. I think Fulham scored last kick of the game. Right. In the replay.
At St.Andrews or
no, that was at
Craven Cottage.
No, in those days it was neutral.
Right.
It was a neutral ground, so it was just one of them things, and that's a bad memory. But when I see names like Bob Hatton, I think older fans like me can remember these type of players.
Yeah, I feel really sad I didn't get to watch Bob Hatton or Trevor in the flesh. I feel very honoured that I got to meet Trevor quite a few times and saw him managers, Worthington Cup final and just a playoff miss against Preston, and I got to see him as a manager. I just sadly never got to see these players.
There's loads, Matt. There's loads you would have loved. Bob Latchford, Kenny Burns. Obviously Trevor. Jim Montgomery in goal. You know, there's so many quality players that there were in them days, and you know, Bob Hatton was definitely amongst them. You could go on forever. We could do a whole podcast on that, really.
Yeah.
But
isn't it funny though that how a majority of people's memories are a little bit miserable?
yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, for a team like Birmingham City to get knocked out with the last kick of the game, we would have gone to Wembley if you'd have won that.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a bad one, but Anyway, hopefully we can move on quickly.
No, absolutely. It's wary of time, Dad. We've got 4 questions / memories left, so we'll make our way through these. And so Stephen Broadhurst, memory. My first memory was typical Blues. We played Fulham at home and were sitting in the railway upper with my parents, 3-0 up at half time, buzzing, but it ended 4-3. Again, a very classic Blues memory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still great times, being took home and away games every week for a few years now. So I love this story, Dad, because Blues fans will get it. We've all got those memories, haven't we? I remember really distinctly Barnsley. Playoff semi-finals at St.Andrews.
Somebody was talking to me about that at the Millwall game.
Right.
I can't remember the chap's name, but we were talking about that. About what a disappointment.
That was one of my worst ones. And Bournemouth,
it might
obviously.
have been Henry, actually, who sits a couple of seats away from us.
Oh, okay.
It might have been him, actually. We were talking about that. It's interesting. I know a lot of Blues fans. We seem to be dragging bad memories up here. But we were 4-1 up against Swindon Town. Right. And Glenn Hoddle was their player manager. But at half-time, he brought himself on, and we lost the game 6-4.
Right.
So
that's always a bit of a cheat code, isn't it? I'm going to bring myself on and turn the game around.
But the thing is, I think it just shows you that's what football is.
Yeah.
And it's not nice. I remember being at home as well, and I think we're 4-0 down at half time to Wolves. I can't remember how many years ago that was, but
we also have.
Anybody remember the goalkeeper at that time? It was a goalkeeper called Bart Grimek. He was terrible. But obviously, at those times, we didn't have a great depth of squad. But we were 4-0 down. It actually finished 4-0 as well, so we didn't get anyone.
Didn't you go to Sheffield United away, Dad, one year, and you were 3-0 down at half time and you won 4-3?
Yeah, that's one of my first away games. I can't even remember when that was. What a great game. That was the old Bramall Lane as well. Yeah, I do remember that as well. Yeah, 3-0 down, and we actually won that game 4-3.
So we do have many wonderful memories on the other side as well.
It shows you it happens. It happens, yeah.
So our next is a regular commenter called Richard Pincher. Thank you, Richard. And the question is, with Stansfield not having the best record with penalty taking this season, what do you think? Who do you think should take them? Stick with Stanfield or nominate someone else? Now, this is a good question.
It is a good question. So what I really liked last season was Kieran Dowell taking penalties because he for a number of games took 3 or 4 penalties. And they were so varied, you didn't know where he was going to go. And they were good quality penalties as well. But Stano, he scores most of them, but he's missed a couple. I think you stick with him because at the end of the day, it's a penalty. Anybody could score or miss a penalty. I mean, it depends on which way the goalkeeper goes, how well they do their homework, how well he strike the ball. I don't think there's any reason at this stage to replace him.
Just to let you know, Dad, and everyone out there, he's had 13 career penalties with 3 misses, so it's an 81.3% conversion rate.
Well, you can't argue with that, can you?
81% is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd stick with him. Unless he went through a run where he'd had like 3 or 4 he's missed in a row.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to be honest, Dad, the Portsmouth penalty was poor.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But, generally speaking, I feel pretty confident when Stano gets the ball in his hands ready for a penalty.
I remember him last season, he missed one. We was at home to Cambridge, and he missed one there. That was a poor penalty. But that happens, doesn't it?
Of course.
If you can make a poor penalty. But I would stick with him. I would stick with him. Like you said, with an 81% success rate, I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it?
I agree. So that leads on to our final question, Dad, and this is from Sid's 1875. Quite on the nose, just straight in there. Well, what's Kyogo got to do to get a goal?
Well, this ain't rocket science. Just stay on side. That's pretty much the answer, really, isn't it? I mean, he's got to stay on side. I mean, in fairness, it isn't just about that. He has got to work out the speed of the game because I think he's got caught in, he's been through on goal and he keeps getting caught. He's delaying shooting sometimes and he gets tackled and pushed over too quickly sometimes.
And when he has to finish under pressure, sometimes he spoons it.
Yeah.
So there is definitely an adaptation to the Championship game for me with Kyogo.
There is. Once he gets there, he'll be absolutely fine. But we've seen particularly at the back, firstly, you've got the combination of either pacey defenders that he's got to be more pacey than them to get through there, but also you've got big centre halves as well, and he's only little, isn't he, Kyogo? So he's got to be. I mean, obviously we've seen that he scored loads of goals when he was at Celtic, but with greatest respect, the Championship is a completely different league to that. So for me, he's got to work out his decision making. For me, his decision making, but definitely stay on side, because if he scored 3 great offside goals, so he's shown he can do it.
I think decision making and urgency.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the time on the ball he thinks he has.
Yeah.
He's got to shoot and be more effective when he's shooting as well. And by the way, for what it's worth, I still think, maybe I was saying this at the end of the season, Dad, he's still got no goals, but I think he will come good. I really do.
Yeah.
I think once he gets that first goal, he should go off like a rocket ship, hopefully. Who knows? It's an unknown. It's a complete unknown.
think,
but at the moment, Dad, an offside goal compilation doesn't look good, does it?
I think at the moment, I think the Blues fans are really trying to encourage him.
Yeah,
He's getting loads of support. We got a fantastic reception after the Millwall game.
Yeah.
When he came to, the crowd were singing his name, and but it's easy to be happy with Blues fans when you're 4-0 up. Because I turned around to the guy next to me on the other side of where I sit, and I said, they're obviously singing Kyogo's name, which is great, encouraging him. I said, but I wonder what would happen if we lost that game 2-0.
Yeah.
You missed the chance. The reception would have been different. But I think we the best thing we can do as football fans is to encourage our players and do what we're doing. But it's a flip of a coin how quickly it can turn. And he will need to start scoring goals soon, because he's been brought in to score goals.
Big price tag as well for Blues.
Well, it is, yeah. We've played 15 games so far at the time of recording in the league. He hasn't scored a goal yet. And he hasn't started most of those games either. So clearly, he's got a battle on his hands, though, to dislodge Stano at the number 9.
Yeah, absolutely. We all love Stano's work rate, don't we?
I don't think I can't see a scenario when they both start. I can't. He might experiment in an FA Cup game.
I mean, in the second half of games, Dad, when subs have been coming on, they have been playing in the same half on the same team.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not yeah, exactly.
It depends, because I think Chris Davis is trying to, particularly a lot of the games he's come on, we've been chasing the game. So, basically, he does need to score goals, and that's what he's been brought in. That's what he said he would do. And if it continues, the longer it goes, the worse it will be for him, because his confidence will keep getting knocked, and it just makes it really, really difficult. But I think we're all, really egging him on and really hoping that he's going to break that duck and get this goal. But he's got to. It's decision making for me.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really accepted or adjusted to the grittiness and the pace and the competitiveness, and the fact you get closed down very quick in this league. So there's a lot there, isn't there? Really.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll know that, but he'll need to take his opportunities when he gets them.
Goal.
Goal.
What are you going to bring? Goal.
Yeah, well, he has.
Well, he has. He's brought that one goal against Sheffield United.
He's done exactly what he said he was going to do. He scored in the cup against Sheffield United.
There you go. Obviously, that's all the questions and the memories. Had any final thoughts before I close the video?
No, just to thank everybody who sent us in memories and questions. And also, just remember, this is only the first one of the questions we've got. So if your question hasn't arisen, or your memory hasn't arisen in this one, keep an eye out for the next couple, because you may well be in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. Maybe there's a question or a memory that sort of triggered something for you there. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below as well. And if you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, an Instagram page, and you can watch and listen to us over on Spotify. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and press that bell icon so you get notified every time we post. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.